Okay, so my paper has already been edited, but I still do remember what was wrong with it. So I had a lot of comments about that my findings, while yeah, they were not really findings. So pretty much a lot of my mistakes were I put how I was feeling and emotions I felt that I should have put in evaluations in findings rather than explaining, hey, this is how XYZ worked, right? This is how my experience worked. This is what I should have done, or not what I should have done. This is what should have been done. This is how the time frame, the real mechanics of the assignment itself. But I didn't really explain that. I kind of just explained, yo, this assignment sucked for me, um, and stuff like that. But so I moved a lot of the suggestions. Now the comments aren't really here. Actually, one of them is here. So yeah, so you explain, or the professor explains, okay, this great detail is a narrative about pressure, not so much about the parts of writing you're focused. You know what I mean? And that part that I really just took from findings and just put it into evaluation. Now with the findings, I pretty much just rewrote almost all of my findings, cuz I kind of barely explained what, it really was. So I kind of just basically typed my reading project was supposed to persuade readers why Dzhokhar Tsarnaev should have had the death penalty instead of life in prison. And I explained how we had multiple weeks to do it. I explained how, because while we were doing the project, COVID started, like lockdown started, and then we had an extension, and then we had to use Zoom meetings, and there was a whole bunch of just nonsense that happened because of COVID, which caused it to be delayed by 2 weeks. And I explained how many sources we needed. I'm pretty sure we needed like 6 sources, and 2 of them had to be books. If I remember correctly. Um, and that's really pretty much the mechanics of it. And so the whole findings is just straight up new. Like I'd say I like 80%, maybe even 90% of findings is pretty much just new material. Now, when it came to introduction, there wasn't really much that I had to take away. It was more of like I had one thing that I had in introduction that should have been in my findings. And what I did instead was I just literally just put that into findings, and then I reread the instructions on the assignments wherever it is, and then I put it, and I just pretty much rewrote it to make it sound more like what the instructions asked. Now, when it came to evaluation, pretty much almost all of my evaluation in here is a combination of my evaluation I previously had and findings. I made sure not a lot of the stuff I mentioned overlap, and I did the best I could with my ability to make sure they don't overlap. And I made sure to talk about how I feel, and pretty much what I initially put in like I said, what I initially put in findings and evaluation. I talked about, hey, I felt pressure because of my teacher. And actually, you also say that, oh, the teacher was trying to make me or the teacher was trying to encourage me to do better, even though when I'm procrastinating. And I also say this caused me to procrastinate, and I didn't emphasize that. What I mean by that is it caused me to procrastinate even more than I initially did, and I kind of added that in my evaluation there. I know you made a comment, or the professor made a comment about that, and um and that's pretty much my whole thing.